It was a Tuesday. Nothing special. I just left a late shift at the warehouse and stopped at that 24-hour diner on the edge of town. Flickering neon light, burnt coffee, the usual. I was staring into my cup when she slid in the stool next to me. She was beautiful in a way that felt off. Pale, dark hair, eyes that held yours a second too long. She smiled like she already knew me and said, "You look like someone who could use some real excitement tonight." Her voice wrapped around my thoughts like smoke. I don't know why I didn't leave. Maybe I was tired. Maybe I was lonely. Stupid either way. She paid for my coffee. She touched my arm, ice cold. And suddenly we were walking out together. She said my place is just a few blocks away. There's a shortcut through the old rail yard. Quieter, more private. The rail yard at 2 a.m. is nothing but shadows and rusted metal. Our footsteps echoed wrong. She kept talking, soft and close, about how the city feels different after midnight, how some people carry so much life inside them that it's almost unfair. That's when it started. We stopped by an abandoned switching station. Moonlight sliced through the broken roof. Shit, we gotta start over.
That's okay. What's wrong? Oh, did you lose it?
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah, I'd rather start from the beginning than...
Yeah, we're early on in it, so I'll just count us back in, and then I'll do another clap.
Yeah.
And sync it from there. It's easy. Ready?
Yep. It was a Tuesday, nothing special. I just left a late shift at the warehouse and stopped at that 24-hour diner on the edge of town. Flickering neon, burnt coffee, the usual. I was staring into my cup when she slid into the stool next to me. She was beautiful in a way that felt off. Pale, dark hair, eyes that held yours a second too long. She smiled like she already knew me and said, "You look like someone who could use some real excitement tonight." Her voice wrapped around my thoughts like smoke. I don't know why I didn't leave. Maybe I was tired. Maybe I was lonely. Stupid either way. She paid for my coffee, touched my arm, ice cold. And suddenly we were walking out together. "My place is just a few blocks," she whispered. "There's a shortcut through the old rail yard. Quieter, more private." The rail yard at 2 a.m. is nothing but shadows and rusted metal. Our footsteps echoed wrong. She kept talking, soft and close, about how the city feels different after midnight, how some people carry so much life inside them it's almost unfair. That's when it started. We stopped by an abandoned rail station. Moonlight sliced through the broken roof. She turned to me, and I heard it. Not with my ears, but inside my head. Her voice, clear as day, but I didn't see her lips move. "He's strong, full, warm. This one will last longer than the last." My stomach dropped. I thought I was imagining it. Then it came again, louder, like she was whispering right against my brain. "Don't run yet. Let me taste the fear first. It makes the blood sweeter." I laughed, nervously shaky, but she just stared, smiling wider. Her eyes never blinked. And then another thought slipped in, calm and hungry. He knows now. Good. I backed up until cold metal pressed against my shoulders. My mind was screaming at me to move, but my legs felt heavy, like she was holding them there. I could feel her inside of my head, rifling through the memories, my mother's voice, the fight I had with my brother last week, the way I cried after my dog died. Private things, things no one should touch. "Such a lonely boy," her voice purred in my skull. "I could keep you forever. No more empty nights." Panic hit like ice water. I swung my Maglite flashlight hard, catching her across the face. She didn't even flinch like a person. She hissed. A sound that wasn't human, and for a second, her thoughts flooded me all at once. There was rage, hunger, centuries of empty craving. I ran, glass crunching under my boots, heart hammering so loud I thought it would drown her out. But even as I sprinted towards the streetlights, I could still hear her fading in my mind, soft and smiling. "Come back any time, love. I'll be waiting, and next time you won't hear me coming." I haven't been back to that diner since. I sleep with the lights on now, and sometimes, right before I drift off, I catch a whisper at the edge of my brain. Something cold, patient, and starving. So, tonight on our show, maybe it's obvious, we are going to talk about vampires. I'm your host, Pat Mooney, and this is my co host.
Gabe, happy to be back, guys.
Yeah. So, this would be an interesting topic for us. Because it's so out there, but
Yeah. Wow. I mean, it depends on how you look at it, right?
exactly. So,
Yeah.
let's just start off with a question. What are your thoughts on vampires?
I have always really liked vampires, but more in like the historic lore, mythic kind of sense.
Yeah.
So I've been into it. Like I read Dracula when I was really young, elementary school, and I've always been really into the lore, and it fascinates me how there has been a dozen or more different cultures where this same general idea of like a spiritual being that drains your life force, that general theme of something like that exists in tons of different countries and cultures all across the world. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is. Have you ever come across anybody that you thought this person's weird or something that's kind of, outside of the normal, you meet weird fucking people every day, but
Yeah.
anybody who you thought this is just completely unusual?
There's been a couple of people over my life in 30 years where I've met, and it's not like, oh, that's a vampire, right? But
yeah.
you get that thought in the back of your head, like, this person's different. This
Yeah.
person's weird. And it's not anybody that I know that I'm close to that's in my life, but people just, you meet somebody, you're getting a sub at Subway or whatever, and you meet somebody or see somebody in the lobby and they just look cold,
Yeah.
you know?
I think the biggest thing for me is, I've never met anybody who I thought, I bet they drink blood.
Right.
Or anything like they have fangs. But, there's, and we'll get into it about, the different ideas of what a vampire is. But
Yeah.
I have definitely met people that suck the fucking energy out of
yeah.
your body. Like it's icky feeling. You know what I mean?
100%. There's people, I feel like, some people, and I think everybody has it, right? I think everybody has the ability to be more emotionally perceptive and feel what's going on, but some people totally block it out and ignore it. And I feel like I am one of those people where I'm a lot more able to kind of like read somebody's energy or emotions or how they're feeling or whatever. And you know people in your life, I know people in my life where I choose to not be around them.
Yeah.
Not to say that they're a traditional vampire by any means, but they're just so miserable and they just suck any happiness out of you just by merely being in your presence.
Right.
And I think that's what you're getting
Yeah,
at.
yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah, because I've, just to back up, the cold open was completely just made up, obviously, but it goes along. The wonderful thing about the internet is you can, let your imagination run wild. And
Right.
But I've heard a lot of stories of people who have had encounters like this, and a lot of times it's in New Orleans.
yeah.
Like if you look up vampires in New Orleans, shit'll make you feel like, you'll become a believer or
Yeah.
at least, more than just a skeptic. But
Some creepy shit that happens. Have you heard the story? This is kind of on the same topic. I can't remember who it was. It was a rock star. It was, I think, a bassist or guitarist for a 90s rock band. And he did the show on Howard Stern. He was talking to Howard Stern. And it's like one of the most famous interviews Stern's ever done. And he said he met a girl. He was out. Brought her back to the hotel room and they were, doing it, right? And in the middle of them doing it, she changed.
I do, and it was Billy Corgan.
Was it Billy? Oh, it was
Yeah.
Billy Corgan. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. That is such a cool story. And he never would go into detail about what he saw.
Yep.
Like there has been dozens of people that have asked him and he won't even like bring it up.
I've seen that interview. I don't remember if it was on Stern or somebody else.
Because he did talk about it with somebody else
Yeah.
after that also. Stern was the first one.
Yeah. And because obviously he's like, I'm not naming names, but he did say, I'll tell you off camera. So there's
Yeah.
somebody else out there who knows, and that's it makes you wonder, and maybe that's by design. Maybe it's some stupid psyop or whatever to keep you.
Yeah.
But
Stern's pretty good at that stuff. So
if somebody changed in front of him, it makes you wonder, changed into what?
yeah, vampire, reptilian.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
well, obviously it's something not human because humans don't do that. So that's
Right.
your cold open made me think of that because it's the same. Because that's what he said in the interview too, was that she felt cold.
Yeah.
And that's a common theme with people that have like vampire encounters or encounters with the whatever you want to label these spiritual things that like suck your life force out. Sorry, I forgot to put my phone on mute. But yeah, whatever you want to label them, that's a common theme is that they're cold. Like
Yeah.
cold to the touch and cold, like heartless.
I think the thing, because just that story really just follows a general theme of things that I've read or heard or watched, and the thing that probably scares me the most about that type of encounter is having somebody inside your mind.
Yeah, that is the freakier part.
I mean,
it?
that's like, the holiest of holies. That's like yours,
Right.
like all the shitty thoughts you've ever had, the weird stuff you've thought
Yeah.
about that you don't want the world to see or know.
Everybody's got skeletons, man.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Not even like you killed someone or whatever.
No.
Just like you want the primacy and the privacy of your brain.
absolutely, yeah. I mean, for what the thought is, don't get me wrong, like, being eaten by a vampire would be pretty terrible. But the more realistic thing about having somebody read your mind and invade your privacy, that's pretty terrifying, I think.
Well, and it's mentioned in the lore, but in your cold open as well, they can stay there.
Yeah,
Like that's talked about where that once, I mean, there's multiple different spirits and ghouls or whatever that kind of act that way. But once they're in, they like leave a little piece of them in you. It's very similar to like demonic possession in a lot of ways. And I think they're probably related.
yeah. That's a good point. I mean, I guess I've really never thought of it as like, it makes perfect sense that it's, something evil.
Right.
And I think if you have evil things, there's typically, in my mind anyways, that all roots back to the original evil, right? So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think, well, I don't want to get too far deep into the demon lore, but like I think there's, for those of you that believe in demons or whatever you want to call them, I think people get way too caught up in labels on what this stuff is.
Yeah.
We call it demons, right? I think there's different kinds. I think there's different kinds of evil, so to speak, and they take different forms. So in my mind, I would say that's, if these are real, that it's something like that.
So like you have, I want to just make sure I understand. I think I know what you're saying. So like if you have broad category demon, and out of that broad category would be a vampire, an alien, or a werewolf, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but all, or Bigfoot, maybe.
Right, and they may even all be the same things. They're just shapeshifting.
Into whatever, probably to whatever scares you the most.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, in my opinion, like evil is evil, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you're a Christian, evil basically starts with Satan, right?
Yeah.
Like the devil. And other religions have their other, like, primal evil things. But that evil life force is all just like how all humans, if you're an esotericist or a Gnostic, like you're all one, right? Like we're all of the same light and love. We come from God or Mother Nature, whatever.
Yeah.
Evil is the same way. So it's all out of the same thing, the same, base energy. It just takes different forms.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense to me. There is a, I'm not sure what an entertainer, content creator, whatever you want to call him. But, from our podcast with 5 or 6 followers, we'll give him a shout out.
Yeah.
But if you haven't watched this guy's videos, I'll kind of preface before I give his name out that, he does the whole, this is for entertainment purposes only, wink, wink.
Yeah.
And some of his stuff is so far out, you're like, this is a joke. But then you watch more, and he provides, on some of his videos, relatively good visual evidence. And so he is the fittest flat earther. Have you seen this guy?
I have not.
I bet you would, if I'll play this clip, you can either do it now or later or whatever, but he has a unique voice, and you'll probably recognize, because he gets a bit of playtime, like on the TikToks and Reels and stuff like that.
There's a good chance that I've heard something from him or heard somebody like react.
But
his videos. But
I don't necessarily know if his thing is vampires or aliens. I'm not sure, but what he does basically is he'll take two people from history, so Elvis Presley and Donald Trump, and he'll take the photos and kind of overlay them over the top of each other, and then all of a sudden he starts pointing out like very interesting scars, and they're all the same.
yeah,
And
I've seen guys that do that. I might even be the same guy.
Probably.
There's definitely different creators that all go down that same path of like comparing old celebrities with new and old historical figures with whatever, you know.
Yeah. Well, let me play this clip, and
yeah,
then we
I'm
can kind of get into that.
Really curious to hear.
Oh, I don't have it plugged in.
That's okay.
You remember which one it was?
Technical difficulties. I do not. I'm guessing it's gonna be that 3.5 mil.
We will know if you hear it or not.
Yes, it's the beauty of this.
Yeah, it is
setup.
the 3.5. There's just 4 of them down there.
Trial and error. It's all right.
See if I'll get this to work.
Yeah, no worries. I can also pipe it in later too if we have too many
All right.
issues.
It's thinking.
Nah. I heard something.
Yeah.
It was quiet, but I did hear something.
The link didn't take me directly to him,
Gotcha.
but I'm going to do a search and I'll find him real quick.
I'm sure just on the regular internet, you should be able to pull up a few different videos of his, I'm sure. So does this guy only do videos about that stuff, or does he do other like conspiracy related and stuff?
This is the majority, but he talks about all sorts of stuff. Here we go.
I do on NFL quarterbacks.
Awesome.
Well, let me show you a few before we get to a new one.
You recognize his voice
Tom
yet?
Brady and I
Yeah.
Dream of Jeannie star Larry Hagman. Striking resemblance. Here's Joe Namath with a nice little butt chin there, and John Joseph Travolta with a nice little butt chin there. Samuel L. Jackson and Lamar Jackson. They even share the same name.
I'm pausing it real quick. He'll point out like their names
Yeah.
and like the Elohim, like angels, demons, all stuff. A lot of these people have the L in their name.
Yeah.
Like Mike L, Gabriel, you know what I mean?
Right.
So here we go.
And L. Cunningham, who is a preacher now and reads from the King James Bible. Jackson Dart and Troy Aikman. Jeff Hostetler, who won the Super Bowl for the Giants, and my buddy Aaron.
I never knew Jeff Hostetler and Aaron Rodgers looked so much alike.
Caleb Williams, whose nickname is Ice Man. Home Alone star Joe Burrow. Macaulay Culkin.
So we can kind of stop it there.
Yeah.
but-
Make sure you send me that link too.
Yeah, well, this is actually a pretty long video, but I guess his whole thing is these people, all the famous people, and I mean like all the famous people.
Yeah.
So they get big, blah blah blah. They start to age, and somehow or another, whether they take their essence and put it into a clone or whatever, they transfer to another famous person.
Mm-hmm.
And so their appearance may change a little bit, but like their scars and all this stuff. And it sounds wild. It sounds crazy. But then when you're like, man, there's this many people who look this close and they're all famous people.
That's weird.
There might be some shit there, But
Yeah.
anyways, kind of wanted to bring that up just really to segue into Hollywood.
Yeah.
Because I think, Hollywood has probably done more for vampire conspiracy theories than anything because of movies and all that stuff.
Right.
But then also because of stars and for things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's the interesting thing is like not even in a drinking blood kind of sense, but you hear about these stars that are injecting like stem cells
Mm-hmm.
and other like stem cells are like the quintessential base level life force.
Right.
Right, like that's what you grow out of that like creates your body, and they're all doing it now. They're all injecting all this stuff. They're obviously there's that conspiracy theory where I forget what the the name of this substance is called, but where they
Adrenochrome.
adrenochrome, yeah, they take it out of the gland in your head or whatever. Nobody knows if that's true or not, but that's another in the same category of like it's definitely a common theme and in real life that these rich people, these stars, are injecting themselves with things that are like trying to give them more life force.
So adrenochrome is like the theory or the thought is the more like if you I don't even want to, I'm not even going to bring up kids because that shit just bothers me.
Yeah.
But say you're a bad person, you kidnap somebody.
Mm-hmm.
The more scared you get them, it
Yeah.
releases hormones and all this shit into their blood.
Yeah, and it
And-
works better, right?
And it like turns crank into crack or whatever, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or
Yeah, from what I've heard, it's like a drug, but it could also supposedly has like age neutralizing effects
Yes.
and like a bunch of other stuff. So
yeah, they're a big part. That's a big part of Pizzagate.
yeah,
If you know looked into that
Mhm.
conspiracy or story, whatever you want to call it.
yeah,
Like apparently on what's it called, that laptop, Anthony Weiner's laptop.
yeah.
Have you
Well-
heard that story?
Well, yeah, and then like all the cops that investigated it that wanted to release it and threatened to release it if they didn't do anything, like most of them are dead.
Yeah,
They killed themselves.
suicide
or-
with
yeah.
2 bullets to the back of the head.
The one dude got like hit by a car in a fucking crosswalk or something. Like it's all weird shit. It's
Mhm.
like, it's no way that they all just died like that. These were like 30s to 50-year-old police officers. It wasn't like these dudes were all in their 80s.
Right.
Like it's completely unrealistic that they would all die.
And I could see how, because I think the big thing in that story, or at least the standout, is because it had a president's wife in it.
Yeah.
And so then kind of going back to what I said, you look at all these famous people or powerful people. I can completely see. When you watch somebody gain power or authority,
Mhm.
these people get fucking drunk with it, and
Yeah.
even if adrenochrome wasn't real, they're willing to
They'll try whatever.
torture and kill people to try it.
For sure.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a scary thought.
I mean, you look just at a basic human psychology level, like people that I know in my life that have gotten even like the tiniest semblance of power, you can totally see how it corrupts.
Yep.
Like not on that level, obviously, but
Yeah.
I mean, you can see how if you were a multimillionaire, you got this big house, you're in charge of a bunch of people, that would absolutely fuck your ego.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it would
Yeah.
just make you like feel like a god. Because even getting something as small as like a management promotion or whatever for some people is enough to like tip them into, egocentrism.
Right.
So I don't think it takes that much for the average person to get. I mean, to get to that point, it would take a lot, but
Yeah, it's. I mean, this isn't really too far off track because I think that whatever the vampire thing is related to that. I think, you look at like a power structure, and when I was younger, and I think most kids, they thought like the president of the United States was the most powerful man in the world.
yeah,
And I think the United States still kind of tries to advertise that, but I think it's completely far from the truth.
yeah. I mean, most adults still think that. To be fair,
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
a lot of people don't realize it's not even like a conspiracy theory that there is a very powerful undercurrent of business people, rich celebrities, whatever, that they really run stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I over the years, or pretty much like COVID kind of changed a lot for me in the way I look at things. But
Yeah, same.
I seriously look at politics as it is seriously no more than a drama TV show. It is like, it's like reality TV to me.
Yeah,
I think it's all, I think Democrat, Republican, Independent, none of it matters.
yeah.
All these people are given a script.
They do just enough
Yep.
real stuff to make people buy into it. But you ever notice that like very, very few politicians ever run on like balancing the budget?
Right.
Like the stuff that really matters. Like they run on like niche side issues. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we're going to, make X drug legal or whatever. Like, like the libertarians ran on for like 20 years. Or, we're going to, get rid of the suppressor law was
Right.
another one that multiple candidates ran on that as their platform. It's like, I understand why those issues are important, but I don't think that's what you should base your entire campaign and ideas around.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
I think it's because they don't have, they don't plan on changing anything real.
Right. They got to like make or find stuff. They gotta
Yeah.
make stuff up that they can actually give to people to make be like, oh, I did that, you know. But I totally agree. I think like maybe it's not a show in the sense of like you know, Beverly Hills Housewives or whatever,
Yeah.
but it's definitely an act put on for the
Yeah.
people to a large extent.
Yeah. I think for the most part, the world is a stage, and yeah, I don't know. It's pretty. It could be kind of a shitty way to look at things,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I guess I've seen enough that I don't buy it. I think it's BS.
The thing that, I mean, this is kind of still on the same topic here, but the thing that's always never made sense to me about that is like your average person, like your average American, your average Canadian, whatever person in the West, like they don't care as long as you leave them alone and let them have a life.
Yes.
So the reason that I think there almost has to be some certain level of just like actual evil behind this is because they, like, these people that are in charge could do almost literally whatever they wanted to, and the normal people would not mess with them.
Yeah.
Like as long as you let people have a normal middle class life, have families, raise their kids in peace, they don't even they don't want to be wealthy. They just want to work till they're 65 and retire and live a decent life, right?
Yeah.
So there's no reason why these people in power couldn't just absolutely encourage that and let that happen and do whatever they wanted. But
I
they
know.
insist on messing with the average people.
That's where the evil comes in.
That was the thing that changed me to the point where I always just looked at it as like, oh, it's just like, they're just self-serving, rich assholes or whatever. There's more to it than that, because
Mhm.
if they wanted to do that, they could easily do it and still placate the average person enough where they would never have any issues.
Yeah, it's like it's a form of control. I mean, this is like the Matrix movie was a freaking biography. The more you think about it, or the more you kind of like, look inward, which I try to do a lot to, make sure I'm not the fucking weird one in the world. You know what I mean? Like,
We're all a little weird,
but like, think of this, like, you think if we were Adam and Eve, like if we were like the first generation of the people God created, do you think that he had in mind that you should work hard manual labor for 65 years
no,
so that
absolutely
you can relax for 5 before you die?
no.
Well, back then it'd been like 165, but the whole structure, it makes less and less sense to me the older I get,
Yeah,
which is crazy.
for sure. I think, what was intended was that we would live simple, subsistence style lives
Hmm.
as a community.
And I think that's what a lot of people, especially now, that are turning to homesteading and stuff like that, and I see these things all the time on whatever TikTok reels where people are like, hey, hey, my name's XYZ. I have 50 acres and, wherever.
Yeah.
I want like-minded people. That's what they want. They want their own community where they can block out the crazy world we live in.
Yeah. Well, I guess I have a question for you then on that. So if that's what was intended from the creator,
Yeah.
or, whatever you want to call he, him, it, where did it all go to shit? Like, can you point to a time? Because, like, I mean, obviously, 1700s, most people were still living as, like, serfs.
Yeah.
They're living on the land, in communities, growing their own food, hunting for their own meat. There was a lord, right, that was, like, in control, at least in Western Europe.
Hmm.
But the same system existed, like, all over the place. So, like, when did it change? Was it the Industrial Revolution? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what, if I'm being like authentically me, I would say it changed with Cain and Abel.
Oh.
I think if you went back far enough,
mhm.
that's when, like, I mean, you could even say it goes back to Eve, but like, That's where, one person had an offering for God that was better than the others,
Yeah.
or better than the other person, and it caused whatever human emotion, anger, hostility,
Yeah.
and so he
Jealousy.
murdered the other one. And I know that's like really broad.
Right.
Um,
No, I get it. I
So-
guess I was getting more along the lines of like they obviously that was when it changed forever, right? If you're a Christian. But I was getting more at like we still had a very strong semblance of that life
Yeah.
that was intended for us up until I would say fairly recently.
yeah.
Within the last couple hundred years.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, I think so. I think, if I'm just non-accurate, but there are things that stick out in my mind, and I think Henry Ford
Yeah.
and like the assembly line and that type of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Those are maybe not the first thing, but those are big building blocks onto
Yeah.
we can produce and we can do this and that. And so I think it's things like that maybe have just added up.
Yeah, like a slow trickle, but over enough time, your whole lifestyle changes.
Yeah,
Everybody's
but
lifestyle changes.
it's hard to say. It's a really difficult, it's a good question, but it's very difficult to answer because you could go back to like Egyptians
Yeah,
and all the slaves and what,
because there's been cycles, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's the thing that people ignore a lot is like we've had not to the same extent as like factories and machine workers, but we've gone through periods of civilization and then collapse
Yeah.
and then back into that subsistence lifestyle, and then it builds back up. Like ancient Rome, they're living in cities, they're have a democracy, they're voting, they're working at normal like trades jobs. You got your blacksmiths, your butchers, whatever, and then it collapses again. You have like the Dark Ages.
Yeah.
So it's happened. Well, I mean, who knows? Could be hundreds of times. We don't know.
Really, it probably, yeah, hundreds of times. And my guess would be, this is just off the cuff, but as soon as a currency system is put in place is probably when things start to shift.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it.
Yeah, because if you're just doing trades, like, hey, I'll shoe your horse if you give me a loaf of wheat.
Yep.
Or, you know what I
for
mean?
real.
And I think, yeah, when you create currency where it's fake or it's, there's no value of it,
Right.
really, that's probably when people like, okay, now I can cheat the system. I don't have to work for this. And
Yeah.
I can,
I
don't
can
know.
give out loans at X interest rate for people that need the money. It really, like with the currency thing, I agree with you. I think it's there when you're putting a monetary value on a person's time and life force, because that's
Yeah.
really what it is, right?
Yep.
Like a dollar is really your time on this earth. You're valuing giving your time to, whatever thing. That's what it is. And once you denote that, and you place a value on a person's literal life. Like, you ever seen the movie Time, where they got the time on their
Oh, yeah,
wrists?
yeah.
Yeah.
What's
like,
his name?
I can't remember. It's
He's a
great.
pop star
Justin
or something.
Timberlake.
Yeah.
Yeah, Justin Timberlake. It was a great movie, actually. And I think that movie, while kind of cornball-y, is very on point. Like, people are literally selling their time on this earth to buy things.
Yeah. It's crazy when you think about it. And we're all part of it.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy because, it's shit, this is going to we're so off track and all that stuff.
I don't
but
think we are, man.
No?
I think this is all related.
yeah, it's just, this is like where my brain just unravels, but it's, I would probably, I don't know. I would give pretty much anything to be out of that system.
Yeah.
Now, the immediate argument's going to be, well, what do you want? Communism? I want none of it.
Yeah.
Nothing. I want to live on my property, and I'd like to go back to that. Like, hey, I have this skill,
Yeah.
and you're a farmer. I can build you a house and
Right.
live like that. That'd be great. Honestly, the Amish, even though they have funny beards, they have some pretty good ideas about how they like to live.
So I agree. I think that would be the ideal way to live, and that's probably where people are generally the happiest.
Right.
Obviously modern conveniences are nice, but
Oh, yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
you could probably have some semblance of both. You
Yeah.
could have, modern conveniences up to a point and then still operate on some kind of like barter system.
Yeah.
Now where I think this all relates back is, so we talk about the idea of the modern vampire, right? Like sucking your life force. Well, in my eyes, your life force, like what is valuable to you in the modern system is your time, which we just talked about is money, right? So these ultra wealthy elites, right? They're injecting different substances to try to make themselves stay young, live forever, whatever. Do they also, is the reason they have the current system put in place that we have is because they also get off on taking our life force through our money?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's not just one thing, you know.
Yeah. No, I think that I think that's real. I think like if you look at let's look at like 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you say that was created by them, somebody created that, I do believe, because that's like worldwide emotion, right? On 9/11, everybody in America had like that same feeling of fear, dread, and I
Right.
think that gives them whatever power.
Yep.
I think so. That's, you see all these false flag, like, you know, whatever, false flag attacks or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
I could buy into those are designed to make people feel bad emotions
Yeah. Fear, anger,
that
whatever.
keep us at a certain level and puts them at to widen the gap.
Yeah. Like some black magic shit.
Yeah.
No, I think there's something to that. I think.
Well, just vibration. Like
Yeah.
just, you know, that emotion puts you in a different, and
Yeah.
I'm not like trying to talk like a hippie, but you know what I mean? Like,
No, I agree. We've talked about it before on here. We've talked about interdimensionality and
Mhm.
stuff, and how my opinion on it is that it's kind of all like frequencies, and you can kind of like put yourself in a different dimension, so to speak, by the energy you have and the way you think and go through life, right? Well, they're basically in that scenario acting as vampires by taking away your good vibrational energy and forcing you into a lower dimension.
yeah.
They themselves are making themselves like the kings of that lower dimension by harvesting all of your negative energy.
Just think like a rock star at a stadium with 80,000 people,
Mm-hmm.
like all of that energy directed at them.
Right.
I think if you're a scientist, you're crazy to not think that that has an impact on your body, your
Yeah.
soul. I mean, that has to have an impact on people.
For sure. Your psyche,
Yeah.
you know, everything. It's pretty wild, man.
Well, I mean, just, you know, as an example, you know, your feelings, your emotion are so different if you go to a funeral versus a wedding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Same people. You
Yep.
know, it could be your whole family, same people, but totally different.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, that's why, like, the famous people, you know, if you buy into the vampire, and I'm not talking Count Dracula, but this energy, whatever, that's why I like this guy, the fittest flat earther.
Yeah.
There's probably never any new famous people. It's probably the same people just being recycled.
Yeah. I could see it. Well, we talked about last episode or 2 episodes ago, the Count of Saint Germain.
Yeah.
That was basically the exact same idea, is that this guy throughout multiple centuries, the same person or same soul or whatever kept showing up in all these royal courts in Western Europe, and people thought he was a vampire because it was like he would show up and it's kind of just like you were talking about. He'd be slightly different, but he'd have like the same marks, and he was the same height, and he talked the same way, and just fascinating, you know.
I don't know. That stuff's really cool.
Yeah, maybe they, you know, have you seen the movie like Get Out?
Yes. Yes.
It's kind of like that, right?
Yeah.
Like they can like take your body basically. I don't know if that's true, but that's, I think, the more modern idea in the zeitgeist of a vampire tracks more on that. Somebody that steals your life force, can potentially steal your physical vessel, your body, and use it for their own deeds versus like just, you know, clamping onto your neck and sucking your blood.
So do you think that the image of a vampire with the widow's peak and his cloak was created by them to make it a joke so people wouldn't buy into it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think a lot of stuff is like that. I think UFO and alien stuff is like that.
Yeah.
Where there is, well, you look at like what the CIA or what like the intelligence agencies do and have admitted that they do is when they want to poison the well on a topic. And I mean, this is fact. They've come out and said this. they will attach kernels of truth, but build a story around those kernels of truth that sounds so categorically insane that your average person, your average normal dude or gal is just going to be like, that's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way. But the kernels of truth they wrap in there, then they get bundled in with the crazy story. So they're instantly discounted.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. I
Like,
mean,
somebody who, Alex Jones, that's what that makes me think of.
yeah.
Like that guy, for, I don't even know how long he's been doing his stuff forever, like the 80s, 90s.
Dude, I just saw a video of him yesterday, like a clip,
Yeah.
and he had hair still.
Yeah.
This
yeah.
was like in the 90s.
The
It
dude's
was
like
30
thin and
years ago.
fit. Not that he's actually pretty thin again now and fit,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, like
At
he-
least 30 years.
he was talking about like adrenochrome shit when you might as well have been talking about Santa Claus.
Yeah, I think it was like the Bill Clinton presidency.
Yeah.
When he first, it was like in the mid 90s.
And then you start thinking, okay, so that's a very popular topic now. Obviously, we're talking about it, but if you go at it, there's probably, I don't know, 100,000 podcasts of people who completely are 100% sold. They believe vampires are real or whatever conspiracies out there, right? And what gave him, where did he get the information? So Alex Jones specifically.
Yeah. Well,
So-
he predicted 9/11. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so where did he get that information?
Right.
So then I think either this guy is leaps and bounds ahead or he's an agent.
He's in on it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I don't know which one.
I don't know Alex Jones, but I would think it's more likely the latter.
Yeah.
I would think that's a easier, because some of the stuff he says is so insanely off the wall, but it'll be on a topic like adrenochrome where, yeah, sure, maybe it's not like this crazy drug that gives you the best high ever and makes you age slower or whatever.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
That's adrenochrome was talked about in there.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But it may not be that, but it might be it might be a cover for the stem cell thing.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just stem cells. Like everybody gets, you can get those injected into your lips now or whatever. But if you didn't know about adrenochrome or any of this other crazy shit, and somebody told you, hey, we're taking like brain stem cells out of fetuses and are injecting that into people's heads, like when you put it into context about what it actually is, or out of like the umbilical cord is another place they get it.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's literally like dead infants.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's objectively morally wrong.
It's
Like,
messed up. There was a I've only seen the clip because I've never once watched an episode of the Ellen DeGeneres.
yeah,
I'm
me
trying to
neither.
think of this actress.
Jennifer Lawrence. She was on there a
No.
few times.
No, it was Speed. What's that lady's name? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'm just gonna look it up. It's
Yeah,
gonna bother
yeah.
me.
Everybody that's watching this show knows who I'm talking about, but I'm terrible with names.
Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
So she was on the show. I seen this clip. She was on the show, and Ellen DeGeneres is, playing along, interviewing her, whatever, and she's talking about like, oh, I heard you get these injections on your lips and blah blah blah, and come to find out that's exactly what it was, and she's playing coy, like, oh, it's nothing, it's no big deal, and it's like that's one of those like soft disclosure moments, I think.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, she didn't say, well, they take this aborted fetus.
Right.
They're
They're not gonna go in depth on
Yeah,
it.
they grind up its brain matter and put it in my lips. You know what I mean? They're not going to
Yeah,
say that.
Because
but-
that's fucking horrible. Nobody wants to hear that.
no,
man.
it's
Like,
it's
I don't even like
tragic.
talking about it.
I
like,
know,
but
it's horrible.
It is what's really out there in the world now. It's an idea that people are talking about.
I don't understand. Because I love my life. I think Earth is pretty difficult, for the most part. Like,
Yeah.
but I love my life. I can't. There's probably nothing I would do other than like, in the moment, try to save my own life
Right.
or be treated for cancer. Maybe there's nothing I would do like to try to extend my life longer than an average life. I guess
Totally agree.
I don't understand like the whole I want to live longer and forever.
Yes,
Unless
I
you know
agree.
the place you're going is fucking horrendous. you
Yeah,
know?
I have never ever understood that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Nobody wants to die,
Yeah,
right?
right.
But I want to die eventually.
Right.
Like that's the part about it I don't get. I don't want to be here forever. Like I also love my life. You know, I love my family. I feel like we're very lucky, have a really good life, right? But the thing that makes you enjoy life is that you know it will eventually end.
Yeah.
And that's maybe going back to the vampire thing. That might be why they do some of the crazy shit they do, is because their life is never gonna end because
Well,
they're fucking vampires.
And they've done everything.
Right.
Right. So it's like, yeah, at year 400, they probably say, I'm gonna start having sex with animals. I got to try something different. You know what I
Just
mean? Like,
whatever crazy thing they could think of because you've done everything else.
yeah.
And that is, I know I've seen certain like representations of that in media where people that are immortal or have lived for hundreds or thousands of years or whatever in, you know, sci-fi or whatever, they explore that idea a lot about like if you're alive that long, what are the basic principles? You're going to have a way lower value on human life because everybody you meet is going to die and you're not, right? You're going to be bored because you're going to already have done almost everything you can possibly do as a living being because you know that the consequences for you are not the same as it is for somebody who will die.
Right.
So you've got lower value on human life. You are open to doing weird shit because you've already done a bunch of stuff and you've tried everything, and your moral compass is probably not very good.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that's the scary thing. One of the scary things about vampires is like they don't think about you and they don't have that human value of life as normal people do.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to me that
It is.
people, and that's one of the only things that makes sense to me about why somebody would do those things, like evil things, bad things. You know, maybe some people are just broken. I don't know. Or there's some other underlying thing like this. Like
maybe they're like fallen angels.
Yeah.
You know, the angels kicked out of heaven or some shit.
It could be, man. Could be you know, there's a lot of other, you know, biblical and mythological things. What did they call it in here? There's one in Mesopotamia, the Edemu. It's basically like a restless spirit of the buried dead that comes back and drains your life force to try to get back into the real world.
I've never heard that one.
Yeah, there's a few. I mean, I have this thing I printed off here. It goes all the way from like ancient Mesopotamia to Greece to Rome to the Middle Ages to you know, late 16th, 17th century France, where they talk about werewolves and vampires is a big thing. I mean, there's a pretty long common thread of these same ideas, which I think you have to admit, even if, you know, vampires aren't real in the sense that, you know, the pop culture sense, there is an idea humans have had about themselves that is real.
Yeah.
Along these lines, because it's ubiquitous for thousands of years.
Yeah, and yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, so it's not the person who turns into a bat, but it's this, you know, like let's just say they're not humans, they're vampires, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, this many generations, the whole vampire story just so happened to stick. I mean, that makes sense. That makes it more believable to me to hear it that way. That's a good point.
I agree. I think when you see things like that, same deal with like the pyramids, right? There's all these same sized and similar structures pop up across, you know, 6 continents over 3,000 years. There's got to be something to that, right? Yeah. Same with this. I think a lot of things that have been repeated independently in different geographic regions throughout thousands of years, at the very least, you have to take it seriously.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, but
have you? I don't have the answers to this. I don't know much about it, but I just recently heard, you brought up pyramids, about the theory of the Black Pyramid.
Is this the one that's in Alaska?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Antarctica.
Underground.
Or is it Alaska or Antarctica?
I believe it's Alaska.
Okay.
But,
yeah. I haven't
it's
heard
like
much about it,
underground.
but I just recently heard something, and it's like taboo or something.
It's super fascinating. I saw a show. I'll have to send it to you.
We
It's
should
one
do a
of those
pyramid show.
We should do a pyramid show. that was it's several years old now, but it was talking about a guy who went to Alaska. He was in the military, and it was one of the it was the Air Force base out there. I can't remember which Fairbanks, I think, or something
Okay.
like that. And they went off on a mission. He was a helicopter pilot, and they flew out to this place to drop off some gear. And they're not supposed to even like leave the helicopter, right? They're supposed to stay on the helicopter. The loadmaster will drop their stuff, and then they take off again. But they had engine troubles, so they landed there, and the guy was like, it was really cold out. Obviously, it's Alaska, and he's like, "Can I like go inside this little?" It was like a hut, right? Like a little shanty base, and they're like, you're not supposed to, but I guess you can." And he goes in there, and all it is elevators, just elevator shafts. And he's like, "What the?" And he's like, "Yeah, well, you're already in here, so." And they took him down, and he ends up seeing like a glimpse of this black pyramid, and it's supposedly like it's like almost a spiritual thing, like it can like get inside your head. It reminds me of the obelisk in Space Odyssey.
Yeah,
Very similar to that is like the way it's portrayed.
that is super interesting. I have now. I'm gonna have to dive into that.
Yeah, it's,
I haven't heard much about it, but I'm glad you did.
there's a ton of lore about it. I mean, and there's people theorize with the lore that there's more than one.
Yeah,
That there may be one in Antarctica, there may be one in the Arctic.
there's something in Antarctica.
Well, yeah.
There has to be. I mean, like otherwise,
Wasn't that our first episode? Or
yeah.
one of our
it
first
was.
episodes?
It was. Was it? Yeah. It was. Yeah, one of the first ones. But
Yeah.
yeah, that one still. I think about that probably more often than I should.
Dude, it's crazy. It's a part of the earth that no normal human can go without government permission.
That's so
weird.
messed up. It doesn't like if you like step back from buying into the structure that is built for whatever country you live in, and you're like, I was born just like you. Why the fuck do I have these rules?
Right.
Why like
It doesn't make any sense.
it doesn't make any sense.
It's-
Like I get it. Like they can sell it to you like, well, we got to keep the peace and we have to have nice roads and blah blah blah, whatever argument for the government there is. But like, just for me, for Pat, why the fuck I don't and
Yeah.
you can't tell me, well, then withdraw. No, I can't. Because I have to pay taxes because they won't let you not pay taxes.
You can't withdraw.
Can't even build a fucking house on the land I have without paying up for a permit and
You
having
need
some
permits
person
and
inspect it.
inspections and yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Yeah, you think about how far we've come, like bureaucratically, control wise, since, I mean, you could say since the 1960s.
Yeah.
But it's gotten way worse since then. But before that, I mean, in the late 1800s, you could do whatever you wanted on your property.
Yeah.
With almost no limits at all.
Right.
Like as far as building structures, digging wells, whatever. Like, and I mean, obviously, yes, you need to make sure nobody like poisons the fucking water supply for all of humanity, right? Or like ruins the aquifer. But beyond that, I mean, people should have the right to do what they please
Yeah.
on their property. I don't think that's even that big of an ask if you bought the property.
I know.
But I guess going back to, like what you said about it'd be nice to go back to living in a more communal, like trade oriented lifestyle. Would you still be for property rights in a situation like that? Or would you want like full commune style?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
It's hard because I'm a human being and I see the flaws in both.
Well, yeah, and you were raised in one.
Yeah.
And so it seems very normal to you. So, instinctively, I'm like, no, that's my land. I bought it.
Right.
That type of thing. But
Well, that's how I feel too. Like in my gut.
yeah,
right?
but I guess I'm open to, I'd be open to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like just free reign for the whole world. You can come and go wherever you want as you please.
Right.
And if you want to build a house because there isn't one there, you can build one. It seems chaotic to me, but
It's how the elites live already.
right.
Like that's the thing that pisses people off is like rules for thee, but not for me, man.
Yeah,
Like
I know.
we gotta, if you want to build, I was just talking to somebody about this last week, but it blows my mind that if you want to build a shed on your property, I mean, probably be okay in our town, but
Yeah.
like a lot of municipalities, like you need to make sure it's zoned correctly. You got to get an addendum onto your property title. You have to get it inspected and all, get a permit, everything. If a rich person wants to build a data center that's like 2 miles long and uses like twice the power of the state of Nevada,
All the water.
yeah, and all the water, they just put that fucker up.
That's
Like,
crazy.
That is insane. Or they go to some podunk little town of like 400 people. They pay the 3, council people like $1,000. They're like, yeah, just let us put this thing up, and then they do.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that's a hot topic right now, man.
Dude.
Data centers, and it should be. It should be.
I'm glad that it is.
Yeah.
Have you seen this latest trend? This is completely off topic on vampires, but I did just see this on Facebook.
I bet you we could make a tie to it, maybe.
We'll try. This latest trend of city and like village council members signing NDAs so they can't tell their constituents what the data center is going to do.
That's
It's
fucking
bullshit.
wrong.
Yeah.
There's going to be, if that continues, there will be a lot more Luigi Mangione
There'll
stuff.
be violence.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. People will. Well, I shouldn't say that. I think people have been tamed a lot, but there will be people who don't. They're like, fuck it, I'll go to prison and get 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
I'm killing that bitch.
Like 80 or 90% of people are pretty docile.
Yeah.
There's always going to be the outliers, and they're going to become more and more brazen.
Yeah, for sure.
The farther they get pushed.
Well, yeah, because that type of stuff, like California, for example, since the Palisades fires.
Yep.
Like I don't know if you paid much attention to the governor race with that.
Was it Hochul? No, that's New York.
I can't think of her name, but the guy who's running against her used to be on television.
Okay.
Well, yeah, he's from California. But anyways, like I don't care about the mayoral race, really. But actually, I do because I like him, and I heard like the amount of stuff to rebuild there. It's impossible. They're never getting their land back. They're never going to build a house there again. No. And then, the whole thing is the government or this, the state of California. It's basically a land grab. So now.
For sure.
Yep, they won't let human beings live there again, but weird, a data center or something like that will happen.
It'll get rezoned to like heavy industrial where it was like, and that's what a lot of them are doing is they do these like fly by night meetings with, the 5 or 7 city council members. They more than likely bribe them. I don't have proof of that, but that's likely what's happening. Or giving them kickbacks, and then magically this residential neighborhood in the middle of that's been residential for 200 years is all of a sudden changed to heavy industrial where like a normal person, if they want to rezone like a parcel of farmland on the edge of their property to residential, that's like a 2-year battle.
The only good thing I can see coming from this is I do think that more people are going to meetings and getting involved with their government.
Right.
And I don't know if that's good or not, I guess, but
well, local government is, I mean, like you said, it's all a show, right? But local government, you have way more power.
Yeah. I mean, I think you can actually get heard, whether they're listening or not. But I say that you've been heard, but they're having these secret meetings.
For sure.
These meetings at midnight or whatever.
It's crazy. You see,
unacceptable.
This video that I watched that was talking about the NDAs. I think it was a town in like Georgia and Georgia Power or whatever. Somebody's coming in and using eminent domain to like take land to try to build this infrastructure for a data center, right? Because it's not just the data center, it's the power lines, it's all the other stuff that goes into it too. And like, I understand we need infrastructure, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, pay these people a fair amount, do this the right way, like it's been done in the past. And the people from this town are asking the councilmen and councilwomen questions about like, well, like, do you know when this is going to happen? Do you know how long this line's going to be? Do you know? And they're like, oh, sorry, I signed an NDA to every single question that's getting asked. They're like, I signed an NDA. I can't talk about that.
Oh my
and it's
God.
like, you represent me.
I could
How
not
can
be.
you do this?
See, that's why I could not go to that meeting. I'd lose my fucking mind.
It should be illegal. You should not be able to sign an NDA if you're a government member.
With a private. Well, maybe it's not a private company. Maybe
Who knows?
Maybe these are government, officials that are.
Well, Georgia Power is a state-owned utility.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's both. It's the private corporations that are building the data centers, and then they're partnering with local governments, state governments, the federal government on some of them. Have you seen that some of these data centers get rejected at the local level, and then what the federal government is doing is claiming national security, military necessity, and they
That's
build it
crazy,
anyway.
dude.
There's
I got on uh, I got on Grok, and just because I use Grok probably like a 5-year-old.
yeah.
I don't know how to use AI, like, or at least I'm not sure how to be advantageous with it.
Yeah.
But I ask it stupid questions. But
Same.
I kind of went on this thing about like it was asking about data centers, and like I'm not like an environmentalist, but I'm like, what are the environmental impacts of 1 gigawatt data center? And it spat all this stuff out to me.
Yep.
And I think the one in maybe Ohio is like 9.6 gigawatts.
That's insanity.
It's crazy.
Dude, that's like 5 times the whole state of Ohio's electric.
That's like 9 time traveling machines from Back to the Future.
Dude.
But and I'm like just asking Grok, like, so what are the benefits of these? Like,
Right.
oh yeah,
Faster internet.
seriously, like, oh, it makes life easier for whom?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
We already have Facebook. Like the US already has the most data centers of any country in the world. We have
Yeah.
like 3,000.
so if it's a country for the people, and you have the people saying not interested, I can stream my shows fast enough.
Right.
All I can think of is it has to do with control still.
Surveillance,
So, yep,
yeah.
surveillance, weapons, all that shit.
I'm sure that's what it is. I want to clarify too. I'm not even anti data center.
Yeah.
We clearly need data
Just need to
centers,
know
right?
more about it.
Yeah, there needs to be transparency, and it needs to be not even sustainable, like green sustainable, but like people still need to be able to drink water.
Yeah, right.
Like we need to make sure people are taken care of, and build them in places, where it's not in a downtown residential area. Somebody willingly sells you the land. You have reasonable access to water, or used like closed loop glycol cooling, like a lot of the newer ones are doing. Because the biggest hang up with most of these is water, because they
Right.
use so much water. So a lot of them are switching to closed loop systems that only use a minimal amount of water, and they're creating their own power on site. with,
See,
like,
I don't-
natural gas or small modular reactors.
I don't even know what a data center would look like inside. Like I
Mm-hmm.
can't fathom. Is it a bunch of computers? Is that it?
You ever been in like a cable spreading room?
Yeah.
It's like that. Like,
So that's it. That's the whole thing.
yeah,
that's-
racks of servers, wiring. There's probably some offices in there for the dozen or so people that work there that run it. But yeah,
I
pretty
just
much.
I don't like so that's like the cloud.
That's
Is that
exactly
what the
what it
idea
is.
is? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of the ones that are already built, that's what they do.
So it's not in the sky. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's hard to it's really hard, and I'm not like an engineer or a scientist or whatever, so it's hard for my brain to comprehend that.
Yeah.
And I think if most people are being honest, most people probably feel the same way. Like,
For sure.
I get the concept, it's a place to store data,
Right.
but like physically, how?
Right.
You
No,
know, is it a bunch of computer chips? And yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it depends, because there's different kinds of data centers too, and that's I'm pretty knowledgeable on this subject. But there's data centers that are specifically like for the cloud, and those are mainly like giant like hard drive bays, basically a huge connected hard drive bay with like Ethernet bridges to connect it to the internet. So you can, because like say I save something on like Adobe Cloud, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's not saved on my disk space,
Yep.
but it's saved on a disk space somewhere. And that's it. The cloud houses all of those disks. So you're basically renting storage. Instead of using your own computer
Yeah.
storage, you're renting storage from the cloud. The cloud is still a physical place. And then there's ones that are for AI, and those are the ones where they jam in.
Those are the big ones.
Well, there is big ones that are both ways, but the
Okay.
AI ones are generally bigger. Yeah. And that's where they jam in like 1,000 NVIDIA, the like N100, the huge AI graphics cards. And those are, they still have a lot of storage on site, but those are essentially the thinking nodes of your AI programs. So it's doing all the neural processing. So like, if you're playing like a video game on your computer, your graphics card's going to be working pretty hard, right? It's, rendering all the different textures and everything, rasterizing. That's what those are doing for AI.
Okay.
So it's like the brain, so to speak, of AI.
So I'm glad that you're knowledgeable about this stuff, because I am not. But so just theoretically, let's say our town had a data center, a small one, whatever, it doesn't
Sure.
matter.
Which actually Hager City has one, interestingly enough, in Wisconsin.
So
Tiny
let's
little
just
town.
say that data center is responsible for our town and our town alone.
Sure.
So that is our source. And so all of our internet searches, everything, that's where everything's saved.
Yep.
If that place blew up or caught fire, do you lose all that data?
Generally, no. Because
Where is
they
that saved
are,
then?
the way that modern data centers are designed is and this is actually the big reason that they're doing this push for so many data centers, is there's redundancies. So there will be like a zip file somewhere that's like a backup of that server stuff. They all cover each other's ass. So-
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah. So you
say-
wouldn't lose it if just one burned down. You'd have to burn down all of them.
Well, and that's why I said it's for our town specifically. It's the only one in our town,
Yeah.
and it blew up. Is that stuff gone?
So if for some reason that was like a standalone data center
Yeah.
and there wasn't any other ones backing it up in other parts of the country, then yeah.
So that's interesting to know. So like all these data centers are all kind of like they're tuned into each other.
Yeah, think of it like like your brain has like millions of neurons that all function together, and like when you access a memory, it's not like it's one neuron, right? It's 10 or 15 firing in the same sequence. That's how data centers work.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot more complicated than I think most people think about.
I knew it was like I had,
Yeah.
I mean, I've never, technology like at that level. I
It's
have no
insane.
clue. Yeah.
Industrial level tech. Like, do you remember like a month or two ago when Amazon Web Services went down?
Yeah.
And you lost like randomly like Hulu and all these things that you wouldn't think would be connected to Amazon, but they're hosted on Amazon.
Yeah.
Well, they lost. That was like the main node. That was like one of the eastern hubs, and that's like the big brain one. But they were able to get everything back online rather quickly because they just fell back on all the backup nodes,
Okay.
the other ones. But the reason it's down is they need to have time to reroute everything from where the traffic's going, where you're accessing the data. So there's always redundancies built in, but if you take out a big one or an important one, you're gonna have problems for sure.
That's crazy. That's a lot to take into my small brain.
Yeah, it's a weird topic, and like I said, I'm not even like anti data center. I just think do it the right way.
Yeah.
Do it responsibly for humanity, not just the quickest, cheapest, quick and dirty way.
Yeah, and I think obviously this doesn't have to do with vampires, and this is just me in my opinion, because I'm the guy who would prefer to go back into the Cowboys days, like
Same, yeah.
1800s, right? But so at what point, are we okay with, we don't need any further technology?
I think
We're
most
good.
of us were there 15 years ago.
Yeah, but so it has to only be about war then, right?
Right.
And being the biggest dog or whatever.
I don't even know if it's about war. I think it's about what you were just talking about a little bit ago, is control.
Control. Yeah.
Yeah. Because they always say, oh, China's going to beat us in the AI race. We got to build 2,000 more data centers or whatever. Tucker Carlson did an interview not that long ago, and he said, if beating China means we have to be China, I don't want that.
Right.
And I completely agree with that
I
statement.
watched that episode.
Yeah, if that's what it takes and we need to sell our soul to achieve this, I don't want it.
I mean, what's the answer to why do we care if whether we beat them or not? Is it
People give different answers. So
Yeah.
like the military industrial complex people are like, oh, drone swarms. Right?
Yeah.
They can neural network drone swarms, take out all our aircraft carriers, Pearl Harbor style, whatever. And then there's the people that are like the economic side, where they're like, well, if they are able to achieve AGI, like true AGI, which we're really not close to, but that's what they're attempting to do. They would basically economically rule the world because they could just print all their own stuff with no labor. And the separation of labor and capital, which is what the AI is intending to do, is to basically split off where capital no longer needs labor. They can just do everything on their own. Once somebody achieves that, which it's honestly theoretical, we don't even know if it's possible.
Yeah.
They would rule the world instantly. Like everybody else would have to beg them for favors.
Everybody wants to rule the world.
Sad but true, my friend. Sad but true. But I mean, before just before we close here, but to get back on the actual vampire thing, obviously it's a crazy idea, right? But like when you think about stuff through the perspective I was talking about earlier, like you think about data centers where they're taking all the water, they're taking all the power, whatever. What would be a circumstance set where you wouldn't care about that? Where you don't care about people, you're focused on the massively long-term time scales, right? You have all your needs met by taking them from other people. Like a lot of this stuff makes more sense when you look at it through the tinted lenses of like someone who would be a modern vampire.
Evil.
Yeah. Evil, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's actually a really good way to, to close this out and do that bring back is it's evil. I mean,
right.
Yeah, it's bad fucking people,
Right.
who have evil in them.
And if you're a normal person, it's crazy to you. And that's what they want. They want you to write it off and be like, nope, there's nothing to this. And even the word vampire rooted in the lore, like we don't have to call it that.
Right.
But just somebody who takes advantage of people, sucks the life force out of you, has figured out a way to massively extend their life, like make up a new name for it. I don't care.
Yeah, right.
But that, like, a lot of the decisions that the people in power are making make way more sense if you look at it through that lens.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I guess that's the thing we don't know, but I mean, maybe we'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah, maybe.
But I think that's all I got.
Yeah, me too. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. Real quick, this is our next episode will be the finale for season 1.
Yeah, we're pretty stoked about it. It's going to be a bigger episode. We're going to get one of our former guests back on. Should be fun. And I'll just tell you now, we're going to do the moon landing conspiracy, and I'm really excited for it. So we want to end our season off on a high note, and then we'll jump in after that to season 2 and maybe switch a couple things up. But I think it'll be, generally same format.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
But thanks, guys.
Thanks.
See ya.
Band of shadows is a